Okay, you're live.
And we're live?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. We're coming live from my house again. Our interim office is not quite ready, so hopefully next week. It's Aiden and I. Mahi had to go do some stuff, so we just finished our team meetings. To our loyal 12 o'clock viewers and followers who come on here every Tuesday at 12 noon Hawaii time, apologies. We were nerding out hard on some training, going over mortgage amortizations. What else? This rent buy calculator that we're going to do in the second part of this live. So we're getting super nerdy on the numbers and doing kind of a team training. And question to you guys, leave me a comment. If you were 10 years into your loan at a certain percentage, call it 6%. If you were 10 years into your loan at 6% and you had the opportunity to refi at 5%, would you do it? The answer seems like obviously yes, but there's a lot of nuance to it. It kind of depends. It depends on your hygiene, your financial hygiene, etc. Seems obvious, and I'll just give a little answer. Depending on, actually, let me rephrase. Not depending. Once you're 10 years into a loan, so you pay most of your interest up front, right? You pay a lot of interest in the front, and by that 30th year, you're paying little amounts of interest and more principal, right? So if you're 10 years in, you've chipped away at that. On the curve, you're paying more principal than in month one. So if you refi, even to 5%, 1% lower, and now you're on the first payment of a 30-year loan, does that make sense? Well, it probably does, because your payment lowers and you could apply that delta to your principal, but it may or may not make sense depending on how far along you are in the lifespan of your loan, and it kind of just depends. First thing we're going to talk about is overpriced homes, but we're going to run some scenarios. So if you're live with us, drop comments in the comment section. And we got any people? We got 11 people on. All right. Aloha from North Carolina. How's it, Charles? If you're live with us, drop some comments, ask your questions, say aloha, do all that. Also, if you want us to run numbers, if you want us to run, hey, I'm thinking about renting versus buying. Aiden actually made a spreadsheet that we're going to start using for our buyer consults for the people who want it. And we can kind of run like appreciation. What if I bought for $1 million and held it for 3 versus 4 versus 5 years versus renting versus exit? Like, we can run all of these things in the spreadsheet. So I'm gonna move. I know you don't like. I know that's gotta kill you.
Yeah.
Aiden likes to keep his cords and electronics nice, and this thing is a little on the edge.
At least it's not charging my computer.
Ooh, yeah.
That was the first thing when he plugged it in. I was like, I hope this isn't charging it.
Aiden hit me up yesterday. He's like, hey, let's collaborate. We got some stuff to go over. I'm like, all right, come through, or let's meet for lunch or whatever. And then he's like, I'll meet you in 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, I assume he has to shower or something. He's like, I gotta wait for my computer to finish charging. I was like, this guy.
Yeah, I was at 99%. I was like, hey, I'll head out in a minute. Computer's at 99.
And I give rolling eye and melting emoji.
Yeah.
So,
like the Drake meme, he was like,
this guy. Yeah. All right. So the first thing we put on this thumbnail is overpriced homes. So I know that some people are going to click on this and they're going to say, yeah, everything in Hawaii is overpriced, and that's actually not what we're getting at. What we're getting at are homes that are priced too high, very likely homes that are sitting on the market for too long. They might be priced too high and just came on the market today. My ulterior motive is I want you to be watching this. I want you to see, our skill and our nuance in thinking about how to price and how to strategize homes and work with you, because there are scenarios where we can price a home, higher than I would prefer to, higher than I know the market value is today. And that could be okay. It also could be detrimental. So let's talk about that. So you show and write more offers than I do, because me as team leader, I'm not as often showing all the homes, writing all the offers. I might be reviewing them and strategizing, but some of these homes, especially in this market, because some of these homes are just priced too high.
Yep.
And we're in a market where people still have the memories of the market that we came out of 2 years ago, where sellers could just name their price and sellers could say, put me on your insurance policy, your life insurance, name your kid after me.
Right.
And if they didn't sell it for what they wanted today, they'd eventually sell it for what they wanted. So they just throw ridiculous, prices out there.
Mm-hmm.
As a listing agent, I've done it a few times. Like, this is rational. This is like reaching. You want to list here. A few times in like 2021, it actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
Less likely to work now. And so if someone's selling their home, should they overprice it? Another point about that is, we sell a ton of homes, I don't know, in the last several years, we're on, hundreds of millions sold, not hundreds of millions, probably 180 million. I don't know. A lot of homes sold, and on the buy and on the sell side. And we know the market pretty well. But what I had been hearing, this is kind of tapered off, but what I had been hearing in the agent guru circles was, this is a new market, this is back to the old market. And truth be told, there's never been a market like this. It's like, you might have been in shape before, you might have been out of shape before, but like, have you ever like just came out of boot camp in shape, or just came out of fight camp in shape? Like, it's a different kind of in shape, right? It's a different thing for your body. Even though you might be at 15% body fat like you were before, it's like a different thing because now your VO2 max is up or whatever. Not to get too nerdy, but this market is different because we're just coming off of the 2020, 2021, and first part of 2022 insanity, which makes this entirely different. Some homes, Kiole, some homes can have 20 offers, be competitive, go more for even we thought it would go for. Another home on that street could not even go for what I and you underwrite it to go for. We might say, oh, that one should go for 1.2. And this beautiful, just flipped home with some unique things. The bathroom mirrors light up, and there's a radio and steam thing in the shower, and there's an outdoor kitchen. It's like, well, that make 1.2 to 1.25, and it goes for 132. On the same street, there would be a home that rationally we underwrite it at 1.1. And it could be sitting there for 3 months at 1.1 and not sell. We're in a unique market. We just came off of the lowest interest rates in history for a prolonged amount of time. People are locked into these great mortgages. There's not a lot of inventory. If they wanted to replace, upgrade, downgrade, shift from east to west, move to the mainland, like, they're just in such a great position to hold that not a lot of inventory is being released, and it causes weird behavior in the market. Short version is, no one's ever seen a market like this except for the last several months, last year or so. It's a new market. So in this unprecedented market, how should one price their home? I typically don't overprice your home. Most people, well, what if I'm leaving something on the table, right? What if I price it at 1.2 million and I could have gotten 1.25? What if I price it at 800,000 and I could have got 830? And I understand that FOMO. I think it's key to work with an agent who can explain the nuance of why maybe you could get 830 and we should talk about that. Or no, we're in like Eva Beach in this community where there's one model and one model only, or two models and two models only. The data's super clear. One or two of them sell every month. There's not a lot of ambiguity or uniqueness to your home. We can pretty much dial in what this is going to sell for. If you overprice, especially if you have a timeline and a deadline, you're likely to sit there vulnerable. And then the reason why those homes end up going for even less than the 800 is they're sitting there, they're vulnerable, they're bleeding, they're not selling, and then they wait until, well, we got our orders, or my job in Vegas, or whatever, like, it's happening, we need to go now. So now that buyer has all the leverage because now you're in a tight timeline. And we exploit that when we can. We're on the buy side. On the contrary, if you're like, hey, I want 830, and if I don't get 830, I'm not selling because we're fine. We're retired. We don't have to go anywhere. Then that could be a scenario where it makes sense for us to try 830. Now, the real estate coaches who secretly sneak in and watch our channel, the sales coaches, they're like, no, Derek, don't do it. Or, you gotta practice your scripts and your objections, and you gotta sell them on 800 and show them why, and show them your book and why you're the professional, and you gotta guide it and own it and make them sell at 8. It's like, well, it's your asset. If you're comfortable, if you're gonna have fair expectations with me, if you're not gonna come to me after 2 weeks, Derek, why didn't you sell it at 830? It's like, well, because John, Keone, I told you it's very clearly an 800 house. There's no reason why I see it selling at 830. Now, while I'm willing to work with you and try and do our best to yield that result, I think a better chance of us actually selling at 830 would be to list at 800 or 790, create a multiple offer situation, and get multiple offers to bid up to a potential of 830. But if you have an open-ended timeline, you don't ever want to see your home listed for 790 or 800, and you're willing to sit, well, here's the thing. We don't control the interest rates. The interest rates might drop in June, and maybe then we'll get 830. Or there might be some unique buyer with we have buyers that sometimes wait to the last minute, and they're like, we're running out of time, we're going to lose our hotel, we got to buy. And now we flip the script and we exploit that if we're on the listing side, and we find buyers who have a tight timeline and want what we have, and they at least get a shot at 830. Maybe like a VA buyer comes in, so now they offer 830, zero down. They can pay 830 if the VA appraiser appraises it for 830, but it's contingent on that. So really it has to do with your tolerance, your timeline. We're always going to be honest about what we think it'll sell for. And yeah, if the relationship's going to be fair and productive, then we'll try for more than even we see as the market value. But another part of real estate, what some of the real estate gurus and coaches will teach is get the contract signed, lock them in, and then we have sales tactics and scripts and strategies to get them down to the market. And I get that too. Do I want to be the agent who spends my time, does this whole analysis, comes to your home, sits at the kitchen table? I know I'm a skilled agent. I'm the best man for the job. And because the seller's reality is not 800 where I know the market value is. Again, this Ever Beach home, which if you don't know Ever Beach, I'm saying suburb home, super, cookie cutter. I can clearly define the value. Do I want to be the guy who didn't take the listing at 830 and was there and had the relationship with you 4 months later when you come to reality, and now we can adjust the price to the actual market? Or if by stroke of luck someone actually writes an offer for 830, I'd rather take the listing, right? Well, difference is I don't adjust my pitch to you and just tell you what you want to hear. I have this sort of nuanced conversation and say, I think it'll sell for more likely around 800. At 830, I think the probability is much lower. However, if we're to endure, potentially, hopefully not, hopefully we sell tomorrow at 830, but if we're going to endure weeks and months, are we going to have a fair and productive relationship? And the answer is yes, then it's probably something we can embark on. Another situation, let's see if we got questions.
We do have one.
We do have one, okay. Well, while you pull that up, another situation where I'm way more open to this, and I see it as I don't try and put my expertise above the chance for a unique property to sell high. So if you aren't in a cookie cutter suburb home and you are in a unique, mountainous or just older kind of unique weird home, maybe it's like it has a good opportunity to be chopped up and kind of treated like a duplex when it's not really, or it has a certain view or whatever. In those situations, sometimes we can't know what a buyer will, we have a good educated prediction, but it's less dialed in because I just can't know how someone values partial ocean views and this unique this unique home where like if I put up a wall, add a door, put a hot pot, I can like put grandma in there, or I can rent it to a younger person or whatever. Those situations that are more, and every home in the neighborhood is entirely different. So comping it, it's like it's not like me nor an appraiser nor a buyer's agent will have just a very clear comparable sale from the last few months. That's entirely different. So then when a seller comes to me and says, well, I think 830, or let's say I think 1.2, and the seller says, I really think we can do 125. I'm still going to be honest, and I'm not going to turn into the sales. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Jones, 125, sign here. I'm still going to be honest, and Aiden and I do a lot of these analyses with Aiden. He's great at it. It's really a productive relationship. So we'll sit down and we'll just kind of meld it over, and I'll challenge him, right? Like, okay, 4,000 more square foot of land, but closer to the road,
Closer to the main road.
Closer to the main road. What's another one? Like 5-bedroom, but their bedroom's in the garage ADU, but their bedroom's in the house. So how do you one's better for renting, one's better for 5 kids.
Right.
How does that play out? Or one's a corner lot, but not as good parking. One's an interior lot,
but has 3 parking.
How do we value things? How do we think the market will value these things? So we really just get into the art of the deal and the underwriting. And in that situation, when a seller says, 1.25, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just less tight and less committed to my answer. And still though, I'm gonna discuss, do you think, how committed to 125 are you? Should we list at 1.2? Because if you're right, if you're so confident that at 1.2 we should get multiple competing offers, at 1.2 or 1.19 we should get these competing offers that yield us a higher result than list price, if you're so right. Or is it one of these unique things where we just gotta wait for that family whose grandma needs that place, and that may not come today, that may come 6 months later, and we're just gonna camp at 125 till whenever that time comes. What is your timeline? I wish that more of the industry could do this, could have this just honest, very skilled and educated and nuanced analysis with less of the tactics,
We had a situation like that. Remember Rhonda Buyer? We were offering on this one property in Kapolei.
I was less involved in this.
Okay,
so what happened?
We're offering on this property in Kapolei, and the property's price, I was looking at the comps, I was like, there's no way they sell for this or anything close. At least 20,000. This is a townhome.
20,000 overpriced.
20,000 overpriced.
Oh, townhome. So there's 100 of the same thing in the community. Yeah.
So not a lot of things were selling in that year. I was looking in the past 3 months. One thing sold. Mm-hmm. I was like, doesn't look significantly better. Okay. But it does look nicer. There's 100 square foot or 100 feet of vinyl fencing, but that's not, 40,000 value right there.
Yeah, and a vinyl fence costing 40,000 in a townhome.
No way. And so I shot this offer over to the buyer, and I was like, hey, look, this is where the comps are at. What do you think about this price? And she goes, yeah, I like the price. Let's shoot for it. So I send this offer out, and I get a call from the listing agent the next day. She's like, oh, the value's there. You guys shot really low. My sellers aren't happy. I was like, hey, look, it's my buyer's offer. We just wanted you to present it and see how your seller's feeling. And the listing agent...
Between us, we don't care about how your seller feels when we're the buyer's agents. But yeah.
The seller was like, oh, very unhappy. They wanted me to relay to you all this value in the property. And I was like, okay, I can definitely relay that to the buyer. Maybe the buyer will have a change of heart and change.
Anything that you didn't know? We got approved for solar for ours and we didn't write it in, or anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing different.
So nothing of substantial value.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, she had a down payment. She wasn't VA, so appraisal wasn't going to be a super big issue if it fell a little below. Okay. But buyer was hard pressed. I won't pay $1 over appraisal. So that was the objective.
I remember this. This is where we were within 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the listing agent's like, the value's there, this, that, and that. I was like, all right, I got you.
This is Mehana,
yeah?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe you're looking at something different, but where were the comps at? And she's like, much lower.
Yeah, I think I was on the. So a lot of times I'll be on the phone or I'll be like in the room while these conversations are happening, and I'm like, oh, ask her, what, like, ask her why, if this sold at this, how do you get to your value of this,
She, after I said like where was the comps at,
Yeah.
she just stayed quiet for 3 seconds. Was like the value's there, and then hung up.
Yeah.
We didn't get that deal, but we secured our client into another property.
It reminds me of one of those conversations I see on like Instagram and stuff where they're like, well, define a woman for me. Or
Yeah.
tell me why a girl is a boy and a boy is a girl. And they're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same situation.
Yeah.
Derek, can you provide an update on the Vegas investment property you were looking into?
Yes, I can. Also, Gunny Lee, I saw you. What's up, Derek? We're in escrow at Ikana closing end of our. Is this one of our clients?
Yeah, Gunther.
Oh, Gunther. Oh, awesome.
Gunny.
What's up, Gunther? Vegas property. So I was looking to buy a fourplex in Vegas, rent to not even Section 8, like HUD programs. These are people coming, like homeless people coming off the streets. People are like, why would you do that? It's like, well, these programs, normal rent would be $800-900 a month. These programs will rent the same unit for $1,600. Also, they'll give double security deposits with an option for a third. The units are bare bones. The laundry's outside coin. It's, kitchen counter, stove, a basic fridge. And so, like, if you have to fix some drywall, fix some stuff, that double security deposit typically going to cover it. And I felt good, I was like, I can cash flow higher, and then I can provide an opportunity for people trying to really turn their life around. I just felt great about it. And it cashed, like, the cap rate was capitalization rate. It's a way of underwriting, your return on your investment for multifamily units. It was just great,
Where were you at?
I think it was like a 10%, like a 10% cap rate, which is unheard of. In Hawaii, you're buying like 3 to 5. So
If
just
that.
great return. Yeah, if that, sometimes 2. Great returns, but it was reliant on the right property manager. If you're gonna go out of state, and you're buying for cash flow especially, and you're buying down into the C, D class sort of stuff. If you don't have the right property manager who can deal with that sort of stuff. Yeah, I know my kids got my couch all. I got 2 boys. They jump on this couch and we're like sitting low. If you don't have the right property manager, the deal doesn't work. And although I had a property manager who is great, I made the mistake of trying to buy with that property manager, and we do a ton of purchasing. We've done 55 million in buys last year or something. We kind of really know what we're doing, and this person, doesn't have the right leverage, the right systems, the right people to help so that they can provide an experience for a person to buy. And it was kind of just, you sit down and shut up. When there's something I think you should buy, I'll let you know. And if for the right agent, I could actually be okay with that. Like, if you really got it, hey, solid. But they didn't have the level of nuance and delivery and skill that we have. I'm not saying we do that, but I could feel okay with that with the right scenario. I wasn't able to get a place purchased. I even found an off-market deal. I had our team call in Vegas. I found an off-market opportunity and wasn't able to get it closed. So that Vegas thing has sailed for now that's not going to happen. But you know what, I'm okay with it. But for now, that's not going to happen. What else we got?
Gunther said, what's the word on the Lannis being built in Ko'olina? Is that no more?
You know about that? Atlantis? Kenj?
Oh, I mean, that's been a rumor since forever.
I haven't
heard any kind of
no updates?
no updates.
Yeah, no updates.
It's always seems like a rumor.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So we have no updates on that. I know that there is some building gonna happen soon over by Lagoon 4, across from the Marriott. And then the Paradise Cove Luau in Ku'ulina, their lease runs out at some point. So that'll probably become something different and more profitable. But yeah, nothing for sure yet.
Oh, if they put houses there, imagine how many less speed bumps you need to pass.
Ku'ulina,
Yeah.
Hawaiian for speed bump.
Next one is, did they pass the law in Hawaii against foreigners buying property there?
No, that's still a big topic. It's in Hawaii. It's especially polarizing because there's native people, indigenous people to Hawaii, right? Hawaiian blood runs here, and the queen was overthrown, and it's a very hot topic here. As far as us being a part of America and America's Constitution, it seems even the state attorney general has said we probably can't pass this. I'll work with you guys to the best of my ability. Is kind of what he said. In other states, they've passed it for ag land, right? So again, I don't know, like in Montana near the missile storage or whatever, there's agriculture land, and they don't sell to China for reasons of security and also reasons of owning our food supply and things of that nature. So I could foresee it from. I'm not, a scholar, a real estate attorney or constitutional scholar or anything, but from what limited information I have, I could see it being passed for ag land. I don't know that it'll ever get passed for residential real estate. But we had that on a previous live. I could get behind foreigners, like other countries not buying any American land, actually. I could really get behind that. Now, not having one person from one state buying another state, I don't support that. If I'm in California, but I can't buy in Nevada, if I'm in Texas, but I can't buy in Florida, like that's a different thing that I can't get behind. But North Korea not buying Hawaii, like I'm for that.
I'll sign that.
By the way, we're going to run an analysis, and we're going to show you a spreadsheet that we're going to be using for buyer consults. We kind of always done this. Aiden put it in a spreadsheet so that we have this actual tool to punch numbers into, plug numbers into. So if you guys are like, hey, I'm thinking of buying, and this is what I'd buy for, I'm looking at this price point, and I'm going to be there for 4 years, whatever, put that in the comments, because we're going to do that in the next few minutes.
We have one person, I don't even know thee. Aloha, moving there next month. Excited but sucks because this is a rare place where renting is cheaper than mortgage. Wild.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
For instance, I'm a family of 5 working in Hickam, but I'm trying to stay between $2,000 and $2,500 a month if renting. I can find a few places on Zillow, but won't know the legit look until we get there.
Family, I know there's more, but family of 5 trying to rent for $2,000. I mean, even like, let's say this little room that I'm in, 5 people live in here. I mean, there are a lot of times in history where people had it worse, log cabins with no insulation. But modern day problems, family of 5, $2,000 a month. I don't know if you should come, but let's see what the rest says.
She's giving all her stuff.
Yeah. If we're looking to buy things in the upper 600,000 and up range for a property that is worth buying, even then it looks more appealing for $800K, but that's way too much. Plus, with every listing, there's an HOA at $800 minimum a month. First question would be, you said Hickam. Are you dual income military? Do you both have BAH? Or are you doing like a civilian job in Hickam?
And are you prior service and have a VA loan? Mm-hmm. Are you planning to put anything down on a home purchase?
3 years minimum, but may extend. Nonetheless, we are very appreciative of the fam and excited to join the Hawaiian culture. So either way, we're appreciative to it all about heading to the land. Can't wait for the community village feel.
Are you active duty or prior service? Please let us know.
Yeah. We got a team, or we got a Geoff?
Yeah, he's always on there.
Okay.
Hi, team.
I own 2 30-day minimum rentals on Oahu. What's the deal with the state talking about passing the 30-day rental laws?
Phasing out 30 days.
Oh, phasing out. Do you think these bills will have much support?
Where do you own? If it's zoned, so with Bill 41, I read through it. If it's zoned for residential/resort, then you should be able to do 30 days unless your HOA overrides that. That's what I own in Ku'ulina, right? if you just own a single family in Ever or something, and you're saying you're able to do 30 days, where that stood was they tried to make it 90. They deemed it unenforceable, so it's 30. And, you know, will they ever get it to where the whole island, unless zoned otherwise, can only do 90? I don't know. I hope not. I don't think so. We have too many reasons why that doesn't work. We have, you know, like for the rail, there's traveling engineers and linemen. There's you know, people coming here to work on the solar wind farm and they only stay for 30 days or whatever. Like, we can't just force all these people into the Marriott, right? And so some might be coming for 30, might be coming for 180. It depends on how the job starts out. Traveling nurses, etc. So I don't know exactly how you're asking it. Oh, Wailua and Haula. Yeah, so you're just talking about homes that, like, will I ever not be able to rent my home for 30? Or are you asking, will I be able to go sub 30, like less than 30? I don't think you'll ever be able to go less than 30 legally. But might you not even be able to do 30 and have to do more, 90? Doesn't seem like it anytime soon. But I get it, because I know a guy who owns a home, or I met a guy who owns a home like right in front of Pipeline. Most famous surfing spot in the world. He owns a home right in front of it. That's not a place where people just live. Like, that's a place where people are gonna vacation. A corporation's gonna own it for their surf team, and now that person can't rent it shorter term. I mean, it's not zoned resort, but the lifestyle there, no one's staying there. Even in the 1970s, like, people weren't staying in those homes for all year. Like, they were transient. But now this person can't rent it for less. Should they be able to? I understand the city has to draw their line somewhere. Maybe they should give out more exceptions, more permits. I don't know.
Not sub 30, but asking about the rezoning.
The rezoning bill. I'm not sure what rezoning bill you're referring to.
Well, let's get back. I don't even know the...
Yeah, I don't even know the... Let's pull up the spreadsheet and go over... I don't even know these.
Okay. Single income and one active duty.
Single income and one active duty.
Mm-hmm.
Can you prep us up what we're about to do?
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I gotta find out my call. Hold on. We got it.
All right. So what we're about to do is we're about to dive into our...
You're not showing my screen, right? Okay.
We're about to dive into our buy versus rent spreadsheet. We're gonna underwrite for... I don't even know we're gonna underwrite whether they should buy or rent. The thing for you is you're most likely going to go into base housing. And so renting, you're going to have to put rent as the exact same as their BAH.
Yeah.
So let's assume your BAH.
They said
How much do you have per month?
BAH did go up to 3.6 a month, just not trying to max it out. Dream is no more than 2.5 a month.
With a family of 5, you're just not going to find something for 2.5.
Base housing.
I get it. You're like wanting mainland rent. Now you want Hawaii BAH, mainland rent, and to pocket the delta. Mm-hmm. It's just family of 5. You're not going to find a 2. I think what you're going to be faced with is stay in housing where they take that full 3,600, or go into the economy and buy something. And so what it's going to come down to is in base housing, you're going to get a bigger home at 36 even. So at 3,600 a month, they just take your BH and they put you in housing. Out in the economy, what do you get for 3,600? That's the question. And for a family of 5, I would be interested in your rank as well. But to rent a 4-bedroom, 2.5 Hickam was 3,500. A former neighbor said rent was going up 500 on their new lease. Yeah, Jennifer, but they're active duty, so they're going to go into base housing. So they're just going to take the whole 3,600. So it's, should you invest? Should you buy and make a play that will build wealth over time, or should you not? So Aiden will start plugging in the numbers. Are you sharing screen already?
I will not.
Are we gonna
Okay.
do this scenario?
Yeah, let's do their
right here?
scenario. Yeah,
Okay, so is it 3 years with the possibility to?
of an extension. Let's call it 4 years.
Okay.
4-year tour, military.
Make it a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Bigger. Gotcha.
Housing allowance, 3,600 a month. $3,600. So Aiden's putting $3,600 a month as rent because on the left side where it says rent, they're just going to take your BH.
You
so
won't
you're
be
going to be at a
pocketing.
net zero.
Was 3.6. What purchase price would that be?
See, so that's the thing is
You gotta count HOA too.
you're for a family of 5, you could get away with a 3-bedroom townhome if 2 kids stay in the same room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 2 kids stay in the same room, or one's a baby and sleeps with parents or something.
Mhm.
And so we're talking 3-bedroom townhomes in Eva, let's just say,
Yeah.
like Spinnaker or something. No wait,
No
320.
Spinnaker. No. The HOAs. They actually have a special assessment. Their HOA went up.
Spinnaker has an assessment.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's one of my more desired townhome communities.
It's nice. I don't know. I think it was like $90.
Okay. Oh, so you're saying what purchase price gets them to 3,600?
Right.
Yeah, you're
It's not gonna.
you're gonna have to go over.
math.
Yeah, the math isn't gonna math. You're gonna end up in housing.
Yeah.
But so more for this scenario, actually, what would you have to pay to get into something? You're gonna go minimum
45.
3-bedroom
Huh.
in Ho'opili or
Mm,
what about like Mahi's North Point listing?
646. Let's call it like 620.
Okay.
620 with a 500 HOA. So that's
Yeah. Let's just do that. So this would probably be well. What would the same thing in Eva cost? Let's do a 600 purchase price.
that monthly would be a lot higher.
Yeah. So 6.
You want me to look at it?
About $600 a month right now.
Okay.
So 6 times 6.
36 plus
Add on-
500.
Add on HOA.
41.
So say $4,100 a month payment.
Ooh, maybe 43, 44.
43.
Taxes, insurance.
Maybe I don't
42.
think it would be 44. Let's call it 4,200.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to come out of pocket if you were to purchase. You're gonna have to come out of pocket, say $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're gonna get a tax benefit from writing off your interest, etc. Let's not focus too much on all the ways to sell you.
Look this up right here. 600. Yeah.
So 600,000 on a 30-year loan at 6%. Let's just call it.
4 years.
After 4 years,
What is that?
you will have paid down
24,000.
approximately 24,000 in principal pay down. If we run a 4% appreciation, now we could play with it 3, 5, 6. A lot of people are going to show you 6. We're going to show you 4 just to be normal, not overly aggressive or conservative. 4% after 4 years, 127,000.
No exit. Yeah, that's what you'd be sitting on hypothetically.
So hypothetically, 128,000. Go to us, Kenji. So $128,000 in combining the principal amount that you paid down, as well as a 4% assumed appreciation over 4 years. Now that doesn't include the cost to exit. You win monopoly by keeping properties or trading up. So,
Well, what could you do with that then without selling it?
well, you could potentially have a home equity line of credit and access some of that money and then go make your next play. Without getting too creative, let's add a cost to exit. Like let's add 5%.
Scroll up so we can see that.
Scroll up where?
Yeah, so we can see the cost of exit.
All right here.
Right there.
So what is cost to exit?
So real estate agent fees. Agent fees, escrow and title, whatever. Say 5% of the cost to exit. And you're still taking away 90,000. So then my challenge to you is you have 3,600 a month in housing allowance. Your payment's going to be 4,200 a month. Let's even make it more negative. We say 4,400, whatever. You're going to be negative $600 a month. Negative. You're having to pay $600 more per month. Is that worth it to potentially leave a duty station with a $90,000 takeaway? Or if I go to the left here, you put all your money in base housing, and you just leave. No risk though. I did this for a long time. I stayed in housing for 1 year. I lived out in the economy renting when I was 22, 23. We got to our duty station, our next duty station. We stayed in housing for a year, took our BH. We moved out. We moved into someone's basement for like $800 a month. And then we saved a little bit of money. We saved, $800 a month. And we saved $1,000 a month. But I looked back 5 years later. I'd saved like 20 grand over 5 years or something. Like in my 20s, I guess it was nice to have 20 grand, but I was thinking too small. I didn't build any wealth. Had I bought a home back then, I might have been looking at more like this 92,000 number, but I just wasn't smart enough. No one got through this thick head. Would you want to potentially exit after 4 years with a potential 92,000 takeaway? So what is the 600 per month is 6,000, 7,200 per year. So 72, what's 7 times 4? 28,000. So you could argue, well, Derek, we would have saved approximately 30,000 by not paying this higher mortgage. We would have saved 30 grand to our pockets. Well, one, if you're calling it BAH, I guess it's untaxed, but $700 could be taxed if it were from regular pay.
But
also, you have no advantage of the writing off your interest on your taxes. But aside from all that, say you could have saved 30. Are you the type that automatically goes and puts that 30 in the S&P 500 or VTSAX, a Vanguard fund, and just lets it grow? Or are you like me, who's not that responsible, and that 30,000 could become a truck? It could become an F-150.
Dang.
This guy over here. Or, like if I told you, your husband, like, hey, you got to put 30 grand extra in your TSP, and there's no questions, the government's making you do it. Instead, let's get into real estate, where the mortgage people say you got to pay 600 extra a month to own a home. But after a duty station, you walk away with $92,000. Let's say I'm selling you at this point, okay? Here, I know Aiden don't like me touching a spreadsheet, so
No.
What if it were 5%, Aiden?
Let me pause it. I don't know. I don't even know the. Yes, it's a $600,000 townhome we're thinking of. There's no single family homes that are going to be in that price unless you're gonna go to YNR.
No, but if you have but we can run that. You can start getting into single families in EVA for 800. But first, this townhome. What if we interest rates lower?
5%.
They want to buy it back in the office, so they drop all the inflation's doing good. What if it's 5% over that time? You have the opportunity to walk away with $120,000 net outcome. Now, what most real estate salespeople are going to show you, can you put 0 at cost to exit?
Oh, yeah.
They're only going to show you this. This is where we're different. They're going to say, look, $156,000. Well, there's costs to exit. When I'm looking at investing in Vegas, I'm looking, okay, what's the cash flow? What's the appreciation? What is the CapEx? What do I have to fix over time? And then what's the cost to exit? Because if I exit in 2 years and all the money I made is eaten up by the exit, it doesn't make sense. So most people are just going to show you this 156. We're going to put in 5% and show you a more accurate. Now, some really analytical people are probably like, but what if this and what? We can get as analytical as you want to in a consult. There are some generalizations made here. But notice we're not being overly positive. So 5% cost to exit over a 6-figure net takeaway for you. I implore people to consider buying. Consider buying. There's a guy at my last brokerage. He's worth $5 million at the time. I bet he's worth probably $6-7 million now. Not overly sophisticated. I frankly don't know how long it take him to figure out this spreadsheet. But he is worth $5-6 million.
What do you do?
A little cocky about it. He was military and then a GS, and he simply operated by the concept of it's bad to pay rent, pay someone else's mortgage, I'd rather pay my own. Every duty station he bought a house. And then he refinanced it, moved that around so that he could buy a new one at the next duty station. Got out, became a GS employee, bought another house. bought another house, never sold them, always kept them.
Well,
At the end, when he retired, 5-6 million. That's not even TSP and everything. Like in real estate and other holdings, is worth 5 million. Not overly complicated. He bought houses and kept them.
let's run it back. So he bought his first house, first duty station, VA loan.
VA loan.
Lived in it, didn't pay anyone else's rent, paid his own mortgage, and then he left, refinanced
To conventional.
to a conventional loan, and then now he has his VA entitlement freed up. So when he gets to his next duty station, he buys another home.
Unless, hear me out. Unless, Kendra, you on us now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Unless he's using his VA entitlement in Hawaii
Yep.
on his big $800,000 purchase,
Mm-hmm.
and the next place he's going is Fort Hood, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
where a down payment required would be relatively small.
Right.
Keeps the VA on the Hawaii home, so you don't have to refi this big thing to conventional,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go put the down payment you need for a regular civilian type loan on your Oklahoma purchase or your Texas purchase. Now you got two homes. Real estate's a powerful tool, man. And if you do this 3 or 4 duty stations, you retire a military millionaire. Or to my local people, to my civilians, if you figure this out, you build wealth for your family. I know, easy for me to say, Mr. Fancy Realtor Agent, you know, but I was the same, and now I own multiple properties. Like you have to do this. We have to figure out how to get you guys into this.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to end up staying, like I don't know, if you end up staying in housing here, I mean, I'm not gonna think less of you. I'll just have a little FOMO for you and wish you were able to live a little like others didn't want to live now, so you could live like they can't live later, right? You have to live like no one else will live now, so you can live like no one else can live later. And it might be buying a smaller place than what you would get in base housing here, and you know, having a couple kids, have a bunk bed for this duty station. You guys should be at the beach anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Let's
One thing too, local families. You know, you lived here. Prices are high. It's tough. You got kids that are gonna be coming out of the house soon. You know, their job isn't gonna be able to pay for a house. If you buy a house now or soon or wherever, that net takeaway, you're not gonna sell it. You can use that equity that you have in that house to help your kid get off their feet.
Yeah.
Use that as a down payment for their home, and then okay, now the kid gotta take care of that monthly payment. Help them get a house. So now 2 local families got houses.
I like the way you put that. Respect that.
Put it on
Okay,
a shirt.
$850. Probably what's the minimum you're gonna pay in say EVA for a single family without an HOA?
Ooh, 5,000.
No, like 800,000, 850.
Oh, no HOA.
Go EVA
Livable
Villages,
by VA standard. Probably
850.
Like, 825, 850.
Okay, so let's say 850. 6 times 8 is what?
48.
48, 5, so 5,100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So this new payment is gonna be 5,100 a month. So you're like, Derek, you've sold me, all sounds cool, but I'm at 5,100 a month, man. Derek, sounds cool, you kind of sold me, but I need a single family. Well, you're probably gonna be paying closer to $5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're 3,600. That's 46, 1,000, 1,400 extra. You got to come up with 1,400 extra a month. So, hey, I'm just saying, try to figure it out, because now, let's see what happens when you bought a single family here that did over 4 years, did 4 or 5% appreciation. Principal pay down's bigger. We're gonna have to do that.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
All right. So what's that principal pay down gonna be? 850. And this is assuming you don't refi, you don't make extra payments.
How many years?
4 years.
4 years. 12, what?
10 plus
44.
11 plus 12 plus 12.
44?
12, 24, 34, 45.
45?
45.
45,000.
Little dirty math. We're not being exact in this
Little
principal pay down.
After 4 years, let's go 0 cost to exit. So you're just holding it. You're not selling it at this point. the potential equity you'd be sitting on is north of 200,000.
That's equity through principal pay down. That's equity through principal pay down and appreciation, inflation. I'm gonna go on a 1-minute tangent.
Okay.
When you have $1 in your bank account and the government prints more dollars, they're essentially stealing from you, in my opinion. If this iPhone case is a collector's item and they told me there was only ever going to be 10 of them, and then they go and make 10 more, they devalue my iPhone case. So if I want to use a new prop, if I buy this house and because of all these dollars that were devalued, there's more of them in the economy and this goes up in value, that's called inflation. You could call it appreciation. It looks the same. You own the house, it's worth more. On our screen, it's worth 232,000 more potentially, or was that 190-ish without the principal pay down, whatever. But the home becomes worth more. It builds wealth for you. I want these things so that as they devalue the dollar and appreciation happens, it's kind of more inflation recently. I want to catch those dollars in my bucket, and this is what catches them. We don't want you to be out there without a bucket to catch the inflation dollars that are falling from the sky. You got to have it. And so, you got to own real estate, man. Look, 232,000. You're like, how can that happen, Derek? I don't believe it. That's where I was. That's where I was before I saw the light. I was like, homes just can't always go up 200,000 every 5 years. Well, if you're going to quantitative ease and you're going to devalue dollar, put more of them in the economy, and copper is going to go up, and like things are going to become worth more over time. And you tell me the trend of America. Have we done a good job of being conservative and not being addicted to devaluing of the dollar, or are we going in kind of a negative direction over time? We're going in more of a negative direction, so I'd rather own as many of those buckets, own real estate that catches those devaluing dollars. Now, eventually, am I going to go to a McDonald's and a cheeseburger that used to be on the dollar menu is $5? Like, it's going to happen, but at least I got the 232,000 from the home I bought in Hawaii. So I just implore you guys to buy. I got to wrap this thing up soon. I got to get my kids. Is it normal to have an open house and keep the doors locked? So I'm guessing you only come with a realtor. I wonder what happened there.
Maybe you saw a for sale sign.
Yeah, was it just a for sale sign? There is trickery. I'll tell you this about open houses. We do them on our listings. Open houses are typically more for us to get clients than it is to sell your home. Majority of the people that come through an open house are looking for free cookies, or they're being nosy about how their neighbors decorated their home, or they want to see what their home will sell for. Serious buyers are typically pre-approved, and if there were it's not that they wouldn't come to an open house, because they will. Our buyers go to open houses. But if there were no open house and they needed to look at the home and they wanted the home, they'd schedule a showing. And so there's open houses are a sales tactic, and there's all kind of scripts and sales training. People do trainings for open houses to secure you. Just punch your number into this computer, and then I'll set you up with this, and we'll call you, and then we'll bother you for the whole week. Open houses aren't what you think they are, is my point. But but I don't know what happened in this open house. How are y'all today? I don't even know our VA is tied in Delaware right now, by the way. Okay. So that's something to look at, right? If your VA loan's tied up in Delaware, your Delaware purchase, I'm sure, was less expensive than Hawaii. So you're going to have, not all of your entitlement is used. But depending on when you bought your Delaware home, so let's say you bought your Delaware home for $250, it's worth $400 now. You have enough equity that you could refi it to a conventional loan and free up your entire VA entitlement, but you need to start on that sooner. But if maybe your Delaware home's at 2.5%, and if you refi it, it'd be at 6%. Will you still rent at a cash flowing rate with that refi? Maybe, maybe not. Does the opportunity make sense to sell in Delaware and buy in Hawaii, well, like I said, you win Monopoly by keeping them. So ideally, I'd rather you keep Delaware and buy Hawaii, not sell over there. So these are all the nuanced things. If you schedule a consult with us, Aiden and I, Mahi and Aiden, me and Mahi, whatever, we'll go over these things with you. We can even bust out this spreadsheet specific to you, and you can say, hey, well, what if you do 5%? What if you do 6%? What if you do 3%? We can, adjust it for you.
I'm going to bang out these last questions.
Okay, I literally got to go in a minute.
Caffeine Addict says, how much are HOAs in Hawaii, townhomes, gated communities, condos? Is it ouch numbers? Yes, it is ouch numbers.
400 to 600.
400 to 600 generally.
East side, 5 to 800.
Better answer, I think, would be age of the property, age of the community, amount of amenities, and things they need to upkeep. Okay. The higher all of those are, the higher your HOA is going to be. Peter Choi says, couldn't you afford more with a VA assumption? Is it a common method of sale in Hawaii? It's a common sales tactic for sellers' agents to market that to get buyers. The beauty of a VA loan is that it's zero down. You need zero, down payment to get into the deal. A VA assumption obviously is going to attract VA buyers because the rate is lower. Now, when rates lower, back a few years ago, from a few years to now, the property prices have gone up, meaning the sale price of the home versus the loan amount on the home, there's a delta between that. That's the amount the VA buyers are going to need in cash. So yes, your monthly payment's probably going to be lower than what you would have paid for market price.
You gotta have a lot of cash.
You got to have a lot of cash.
Here, quick one. They bought for 800. Mm-hmm. They paid off 50. It's worth 900 because they experienced appreciation inflation. So there's $150,000 delta, right? It went up 100. They paid off 50. Mm-hmm. So you can assume the 650 that they or 750 that they owe, but they want 900. So you got to come with 150,000 to assume that thing. So to answer your question, it typically is a marketing tactic to get VA buyers to call me. Occasionally it can work with someone who has cash and has patience because they take 4 or 6 months.
And with each payment the seller makes, the more cash you got to bring to the deal. That was it.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, I have to go, everyone. If you're watching this, thank you so much. Go to coreteamhawaii.com. Go to the very bottom. I don't know these specifically. I want to get to know thee. So reach out to us, you specifically. Let's do a consult. What I can promise you is we aren't these, we don't, just bother you and push you to buy or whatever. But we'll do a very educational consult and then introduce you to our lender. They can help you run the numbers even more specifically, and we just see. But we don't like to spend our time bothering people and trying to get them to do things they don't want to do. That's not really our MO. So it's a safe space. Reach out to us. And I gotta go get my kids from school. When's the next live stream? Should be next week at 12. This one was a little later because we were nerding out just like this right before we just had to keep training. 2 houses for sale, 1.6, 2.5. Hit us up, Pat. We'll look into them specifically and figure it out for you. So hit us up. Got it. Buyer has to cover equity. Do lenders usually not cover that with a second loan? Peter, I've never heard of it happening in Hawaii. I've heard of like small second loans for small purchases in like Alabama. I never heard of it in Hawaii.